If you've ever felt yourself not doing the work that you were meant to do or finding it extremely difficult, this is how I stopped my procrastination and made working bafflingly easy. From not being able to focus for even 20 minutes at a time, I was able to study for 12 hours every single day. And this is the 3-step process that you can use to get there. Number 1, start early. To actually get work done, you have to start early. But before I explain to you this concept called front loading, I first have to explain what focus is. You see, you only have a limited amount of brain power or decisional making power throughout the day. This is what helps you stay disciplined, hardworking, and organized. Imagine you only have 100 brain points, and the day-to-day decisions like choosing what clothes to wear, like choosing whether or not to relapse or brush your teeth, all come into effect and use a certain amount of brain points. And the more you'll struggle as it slowly runs out throughout the day, starting from 100 in the morning to whatever it'll be late at night. The more brain points you have, the easier the task is going to be. Meaning the best time to do the hardest work is at the beginning of the day, preferably when you wake up. And the less things that you have between waking up and doing the work, the better. An easy way to prioritize this early start is for number 1, to prepare all your clothes the night before. Not only does this save energy and decisional making power in the morning, it is also a great way of organizing and preparing your day, which is number 2. You have to be able to prepare and organize the day after. And what this involves is going from waking up to sleeping and every single hour in between, and putting down and jotting down what you're going to do in that hour. A study has shown that people who do this over journaling about, what they did during the day, right? They actually find sleep easier and better. And it makes sense because they're using their decisional making power when it's not exactly necessary or important for that day. But what that allows them to do is not only get good sleep because they have exhausted themselves, but they can also the next day save and conserve energy because they don't have the fatigue, the decision fatigue. Now, front loading is this concept that we're talking about, where you have a mental shift in understanding and see that the best time to do the hardest work and the most important work is at the start of the day. And as we've realized now, the quality of the work that you do and the difficulty of it isn't equivalent throughout the day. So it's actually harder to do after school or after the 9 to 5 or whatever you're doing throughout the day, and the multiple decisions that you make from what food to eat to what clothes to wear. So it is actually much harder to do the same work with the same difficulty, hard or not, when you're trying to do it at night, because you've used up all of your decisional making power, your brain points. So when you start earlier, and the earlier you start and the less decisions you make between waking up and actually doing the work, the easier the task will be, and you will be genuinely surprised at how easy it is to be consistent. And not only is this the case, you're also centering your life around your purpose. Because if you can also sleep early, what this allows you to do is to control when you wake up. You want to wake up early, you sleep early, or else you'll never be consistent. I think that being consistent with your sleep is the number 1 criteria for succeeding, and it's very simple. Anyone can do it. It doesn't require any resources. It is a simple fact of sleeping consistently, not sleeping well or not sleeping a lot, but consistently, meaning the time you sleep at, maybe it's 10 p.m., will always be 10 p.m. with a 5 to 10 minute deviation from that time. That is healthy. Number 2 is progression from the Pomodoro to the Flowmodoro. Now, you've probably already heard of the Pomodoro technique. It's the countdown. What this allows you to do is to actually, if you've never studied before or never focused before, actually get it. And 25 minutes of shallow work is much better than nothing. Your focus requires training, just like how all of your other muscles require. Your focus, your brain requires hypertrophy just like any other muscle. And if you want to build this muscle of discipline and focus, then you have to be able to start small with progressive overload. That's what the Pomodoro technique is. This need for a timer is genuinely very important because it gives you a goal and something to visualize toward. The visualization trick in which you think about the reward of finishing the time, or you think about how it's only 2 minutes, allows you to much easily finish the task and actually be consistent with it. A psychological study done on 50 children on whether or not they will wait 15 minutes for a second marshmallow showed that when they did this certain visualization trick where they were opposed to only having 5 children of the 50 waiting for the second marshmallow, over 35 children actually waited. And once you're able to consistently do this and consistently do the Pomodoro technique with the countdown, what you can then shift towards is one of focus, and it's called the Flowmodoro technique, in which you study or you work or focus for however long you can focus, meaning that you stop straight away when you feel that you can't think anymore, when you feel that you cannot do the same amount of work at the same level of efficiency, and focus. And what this is going to shift from is shallow work to deep work, and you will see a major difference in quality and a major difference in actual work that you get done in this period of time. And during this time, there should be 0 distractions, meaning you don't look at your phone, meaning your parents don't interrupt you, meaning nothing happens except the work. And even switching tabs or switching topics or thinking of something else is going to drastically decrease your focus to the point that you may even quit. The Pomodoro technique isn't exactly good for focus because it takes around 25 minutes to actually get focused and get into the trance where everything feels really easy, where you build up the momentum for focus and work, etc. Number 3 is diet, and that was the most effective thing that I did for myself to stay focused and consistent with the work that I was doing. I was laser pinpoint focused whenever I was studying or focusing, because I was doing number 1, an intermittent fasting, and number 2, an avoidance of any sort of carbs, complex carbs. So I'm not really an expert, but any carb like cereal, oats, bread, pasta, rice isn't the best thing to have early in the morning, nor is it the best thing to have before you focus or work. Preferably, when you do this in the morning, you want to go through intermittent fasting, in which you don't really eat anything for around 4 hours. And what you do is to break that fast. What I do is to eat eggs, specifically 6 to 12 eggs. And I literally felt so great that after a 12-hour shift of manual labor, I still had energy and I wasn't exhausted. So what I think is that eating eggs increases your brain points. Doing healthy habits, doing healthy things increases your brain points and your capacity to make more decisions, or rather make less decisions and do more in those decisions. That decision being to work, right? You want to do more work. If you've enjoyed, like, share, subscribe, just interact.